Sneak previews Michael Medved calls Harry and the Hendersons a delightful romp, a funny, touching, classy piece of entertainment, a hit the size of Bigfoot.
Definitely going to go see it again. It was absolutely amazing, and it's hysterical.
David Anson of Newsweek says, Harry is lovable, a surefire scene stealer.
Funniest movie I've seen in a long time. You walk out of there feeling good.
It was great.
I loved it. Harry and the Hendersons is great.
Harry and the Hendersons, rated PG, now playing at theaters everywhere.
Walt Disney Pictures presents We'll Spend Some Real Quality Time Together, Goofy and his son, Max.
I think I'm gonna be sick.
In their first full-length animated motion picture. It's the comedy that proves
Bigfoot!
It's hard to be cool when your dad's goofy. A goofy movie.
Max?
A little smoke, kid. Rated G. Starts Friday, April 7th.
Something out there.
It's coming.
And what is up, people of Somewhat Supernatural? Your host with the ghost, Scuba Steve, here bringing you episode 10. Episode 10, the long-awaited episode 10 of Somewhat Supernatural. And today we will be discussing the interdimensional Samsquanch with none other than the one, the only, the self-proclaimed Sasquatch expert himself, Johnny D, and our movie buff king, the one, the only, TJ fucking Bowser.
What's up, motherfuckers?
What's going on, guys? How's it going?
It's going great, man. Thank you for having us on, bud.
Yeah,
no,
man.
true honor.
Thank you for having the time, because I know both of you are very passionate about, you know, Sasquatch and Bigfoot, and you know whether he rapes or not. I know it's real. It's real.
Oh, we said we weren't going to discuss that.
No,
maybe we were.
Oh, we weren't?
I don't know.
I don't remember. I don't read the notes.
It's
I
already
just go
out
with
there
it.
now.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's out there. We're gonna talk about it. Bigfoot, he get it on. He get it on, even if you say no.
Sometimes it happens.
So, what have you guys been up to? Johnny D, what's been going on, brother?
Oh man, not much, brother. Not much. Just had a nice half day today. Had a little doctor's appointment. Checked some things up on my old throatage, but seems to be everything's good. I had to get some nice warm gel all about the throatal area.
I mean, that's your
It's
everyday.
hot.
I mean, that's your everyday. So, I mean, what? I mean,
Yeah, you know, they say you're not working if you enjoy what you're doing, right? Other than that, and I'm so happy it showed up like literally an hour before this episode. Got my fucking sweet Samsquanch shirt on.
that is
which,
fucking
I
amazing.
Think our brother, Mr. TJ Bowser, has one quite similar, but almost, I would say, better.
Yep,
Just read
there
that,
you
take
go.
that in. And for the audio listeners, it says, Bigfoot is real, and he tried to eat my ass.
Oh, it's
Yes.
true. It's damn true.
It's true. It's true. There's footage. There's footage.
Right? That's on Patreon, though. So
Yeah, that's on our Patreon. You got to subscribe to see that shit.
That's
No.
in the woods tier.
right? Yes. It's going up a couple. But no, other than that, man, actually, I'm very excited, especially for being on the horror front, because fucking Bruce Campbell is coming to my little podunk town for some fucking reason, because he's going to be showing the
shit.
OG. It's 40th anniversary of Evil Dead. And
Fucking
so Yeah, exactly. And he's gonna be doing a Q&A and shit after. It's gonna be at the drive-ins. And dude, I'm so stoked because we had to get the photo op. The most expensive one, shit was already sold out, dude, and it just was announced like a few hours ago. So I had to go the next tier down, but that's all right.
People want the chin, baby.
Dude,
Yes,
right? Who doesn't?
Definitely. You know, when I went to Texas Frightmare a few years back, it was the one before COVID hit.
Mm-hmm.
He was there, and I kicked myself in the ass because he sold out quick. But I got to see him, and even just being within like 10 feet of, Bruce Campbell was fucking amazing. I didn't get to meet him, but, I will
Now,
one day. One fucking
here's
day.
my question. Do I just go in normal garb, or do I try to get a Hawaiian shirt to fit with the Campbell experience? Because I feel like he's going to be in one.
You got to go with the
right?
Hawaiian shirt. You have to.
I got to see if I can order an Evil Dead Hawaiian shirt by then. I'm sure they're out there.
Ooh.
If
Where
anybody's
have I
listening.
seen it? I saw one with a Necronomicon that had a very Hawaiian vibe to it on I think it was Middle of Beyond or something like that. I think they had
That sounds about right.
I want to say they had it looked kind of like a Necronomicon-ish Hawaiian style shirt.
Big Johnny D's gonna have to do some internet searching nonetheless,
Yes,
dude. But it's
yes.
all right because I got all the way till July 9th, so I should be able to get something done with that. Other than that, man, I'm fucking ready to do this episode, but let's hear from our boss man, dude. TJ, how you been, brother?
Well, man, as I say on all these podcasts, breaking hearts and podcast charts, baby. Woo, woo, woo. Podcasts here, podcasts there, podcasts everywhere. I'm working on new episodes of the TJ Bowser Power Hour for season 2. Working on Gore and more. We got Tremors 2 coming up on Monday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's going to be fucking awesome. I got Fatality audio episode coming up very soon. What else do we have? I don't know. I worked on a lot of behind the scenes stuff that John now has in his inbox that he'll realize in a couple seconds. Yeah.
No, I saw it. That's why I asked, is that what I think it is?
It is. It's a project
I'm excited.
I've been working on for a little bit. I might actually start the next project now that I'm a little in between stuff. But anyway, yeah, just pumping out stuff for Project Louder. We're making gains in the listenership, and I can't wait to share all those analytics with you guys. And thank you for all the support out there and all you Project Louder listeners. It's appreciated, and thank you for making all of our dreams come very true. So let's talk about Bigfoot.
Bigfoot, Sasquatch.
Samsquanch.
Samsquanch. So for decades, people around the world have been fascinated with the legend of Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti, or whatever you choose to call it. Sightings of a furry, upright biped and reports of beastly footprints have been reported from as far as the Himalayas. Although no real proof exists, the reports keep coming. Plunge into the deep, dark corners of the subculture with us on this episode of Somewhat Supernatural. Is Bigfoot real? You be the judge.
So do you want some other names for that list, buddy?
Yes, go for it. Let's hear it. Because
right,
you, like I said,
well,
you're the expert on this.
And you know what? Expert my ass. I'm just a fucking fan of it all, dude. Like, I love the community. I love it's. Anyways, so we already said Sasquatch. We already know Bigfoot. I'm gonna fuck this up, but it's Sequoial, I believe it is up in Alaska. Skunk ape, which would be down here Florida and closer to like Scuba Steve, where he's at down in Texas. We got them boogers. The boogers are in the middle. Tennessee area, all that good shebang. Wild man, grass man. Obviously, we know the Yeti. Down under with our Saucy Aussie, we got the Yowie. We got, which I believe you covered, Scuba Steve.
We did talk. We touched on it a little bit. We didn't do a full episode on it, but we touched on him a little bit.
Nice. I also got Urins, and of course, we know the Abominable Snowman. And there's more than that, but sometimes it's just where literally, like, if it's a smaller town where it's happening, they have their own name for it. If you don't know what they call it, you'll have no idea that they would even have like sightings or anything like that, because it could be something completely different, like on a cryptid scale of, what you're thinking.
See, and like down here where I'm at, we have like no forests. We don't have any shit like that. So, like the Florida area, they have their swamps and stuff. Over where I'm at, on the Gulf Coast of Texas, we don't have that. You know what I mean? So we really don't have a form of Bigfoot per se. You know what I mean? Not one that I've heard of growing up here all my life,
Right.
And that's something I was thinking about when I was driving home. the area where you guys are from have had a lot of reported sightings. You know what I mean? And
TJ's area especially.
Yeah.
For some reason, Pennsylvania, there's a lot.
But there's a lot of UFO sightings in Pennsylvania as well.
True. Now, you actually do have some near you in Texas, but it's over in East Texas where it's all wooded and shit.
Well,
They're
see,
actually-
and that's not near. Like, you got to remember how big
Texas is literally like a third of the
Deep
country
in the
itself.
heart of Texas.
True. That's just a little bit over in Texas isn't a couple hour drive. It's like a
Yeah, I had a friend that was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go to Texas, this and that, blah blah blah. We should meet up and this and that." I was like, "Yeah, cool. Where are you gonna be?" And they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna be in Dallas." I'm like, "Bro, that's like 8.5 hours away. Like, what?
Yeah, let's just
not
meet
that
up.
close. Like, it's not that close. Like, I'm not driving 8 hours to see you, bro. Sorry."
Fair enough. Nice, dude.
So the very first encounter that I want to talk about is the Patterson Gimlin encounter. Okay. Now
Which
that
opened up the show.
It did open up the show. Thank you for that, boss man. That was a beautiful, beautiful
You're
intro.
welcome.
I
And
loved
if you
it.
didn't
I loved
notice,
it.
that was actually the 4K clarification one, if you could tell over the Bigfoot in itself.
Yeah, it was really good. Really good. I liked it. So that one is the most, I think, because it is the oldest that we have on video, it is the most popular Bigfoot sighting to date. I know there's tons of, different videos on YouTube that you can find, and, people upload this, upload that, but this one is the OG. This is the grandfather of all Bigfoot videos. So I'm just going to read a little bit about, the actual video and what occurred that day. And then, if you guys want to interject, go ahead. So on Friday, October 20th, 1967, Patterson and Gimlin were riding generally northeast upstream on horseback along the east bank of Bluff Creek. At some time between 1:15 and 1:40 p.m., they came to an overturned tree with a large root system at a turn in the creek, almost as high as a room, is what they said. When they rounded it, there was a log jam, which is like a crow's nest, left over from the flood of '64. And they spotted the figure nearly simultaneously. It was either crouching beside the creek on their left or standing there on the opposite bank. Gimlin later described himself as in a mild state of shock after first seeing the figure. Can you imagine just being out there, horseback riding, and then boom, all of a sudden you see this fucking just giant ass creature off in the distance that you don't know. If it's a human, you don't know exactly what it is. Now,
I think that would be the hardest thing, dude, is because you have no idea what kind of box to put it in. You know what I mean? Like, you could think gorilla right away, but at the same time, you're like, this isn't moving like a gorilla by any fucking means. And I don't know. I couldn't imagine, dude. Everybody, if you listen to anybody that supposedly has seen them, they'll say they wish it's never fucking happened. Like, there's a few people that are like, fuck yeah, dude, they're gung ho to see him again, but for the most part, most people are like, no, I'm good. I mean, how would you guys feel? I mean, I would. So you're always looking for this stuff.
Yeah, and it's different though on the paranormal side of it, because I think seeing a ghost is different than actually seeing something that could physically come and fucking just wreck your shit if it wanted to.
Should the people who made Phasmophobia make a Bigfoot version?
There is a Bigfoot game out there like that, but I don't know who made it. It is on Steam. I've looked at it.
That'd be
before.
the tits. That'd be the biggest tits.
Think of it like the Jason game. What it's like, because I think somebody can actually control Bigfoot as well.
See, I think if you use it like the mechanics of Phasmophobia, Bigfoot, especially if it's the larger maps and have Bigfoot be a threat, depending on how you approach them. Again, just like the ghosts in Phasmophobia, setting up cameras and stuff. It's just and then collecting evidence again, just like Phasmophobia. I think that would be fucking rad.
You can cast the footprints and stuff like that.
I think we're onto something. You got that. You could do your tree knocks. You could do your different calls.
With your
you
microphone
can use lights.
See, parabolic dish.
Now with cameras though, cameras would work opposite, because supposedly they avoid trail cams because they could like hear them and shit.
Yeah, but the pictures you can get me like a foot and shit, like
right. But I'm saying, like, if you were trying to, let's say, catch it, like if that was one of the objectives, is to actually try to catch it.
Let's be honest, the pictures we get in Phasmophobia, we're not going to get that type of evidence in real life. I mean, look, you can ask Steve.
Oh yeah, no, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
So
I'd be rich if we got even
Oh my God.
fucking speck of the fucking activity you get in Phasmophobia. I'd be
Right?
fucking rich.
And
I wouldn't
pissing
be
your
working,
pants, dude.
Oh yeah, and
But
you
this
know,
is totally be like make a fucking Bigfoot pack for Phasmophobia. That'd be rad as fuck.
yeah, they should incorporate other cryptids in there
Cryptids,
because
yeah, why not?
it's a paranormal game and cryptids are considered paranormal. That'd be fucking great. I mean, fuck.
Like a Wendigo and like a Native American
Oh,
thing?
dude.
Oh, terrifying.
That'd be fucking. Oh, I would die. I would die quickly, just like I did the first time. Just like I did first time I played Phasmophobia. Fuck that game. That game,
Well,
man.
It is the best with the boys, though. It is.
Yes, it is.
Dude, it has been a hot minute. So it's kind of funny you actually mentioned that. I could kind of spin a little bit into something like that. So we obviously in Phasmophobia have different types of ghosts that we got to pick from and stuff like that. So according to the physicality of Bigfoots, and this isn't going
We could
to
choose the type of
right.
Bigfoot it is.
There's supposedly 4 different types of Bigfoots. So your first one is going to be your Patty-esque, which we saw is what we're talking about now in the Patterson Gimlin film. Darker, more rounded head. The second one is more the skunk ape. So that's down south, aggressive, more orangutan style. Usually they're not as like thick. They're built more like a chimpanzee, orangutan, like right. So they'd be a lot more
Like a
intense
monkey
than-
on meth. Like a monkey
Pretty
on
mu-
meth.
Yes, exactly. It would be Florida
'Cause
man.
it's the
just-
South. It's
Yeah,
Florida.
It's Florida
I mean,
man
come on.
times 10 right there, dude. And then so type 3 would actually also be super fucking scary because type 3, and you might also know this, Scoop, is the dogman type.
Yes.
Now, dogman type is, think of the easiest way to think about it if you have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about is if you know what Anubis looks like,
yeah,
that's the dogman style. But supposedly they've been seen with Sasquatches or Sasquai, I guess you could say. Sasquatches. I'm not really sure on that. But supposedly they've been seen with them, but they're also super aggressive and they've been known to supposedly actually like hunt you down, like will chase you to your house.
And then they will fuck you.
It's possible.
They will
They might eat your face.
They might eat your ass.
And then the type 4s are usually similar to the patty ones, but they're a lot smaller and with a little bit more of a conical shaped head. And supposedly they're in like the 6 to 7 foot range. But yeah, there you go. There's your game types for
Harry.
the game.
So like Harry and the Hendersons.
He would be probably
Because I mean he's got
the more conical. Yeah.
But he's a little bit bigger than 6'7". He's like 7'8", isn't he?
Well, so the idea is
probably.
like they could just essentially be like us. Like we've gone all over the world as humans and we've adapted to each situation. Well, you could have had one of these creatures fucking a millennia ago. They split, and because they live in different areas, that's how they adapt to their. You know what I mean?
Humans.
Like up north, you're in Oregon or in our area, they got to be bigger, hardier, deal with the snow and shit like that. But down south, they got to be scrappier, deal with the heat, less fur. Like
definitely less fur because I don't see them, lasting that long here, especially in this climate. I mean, maybe in Florida. Florida's humid.
That explains the smells, though. The more smell reports and like this more smell names in the South because you would smell them more than you would, let's say, a colder Pennsylvania evening.
That's
right.
True. That is true.
Dude, Pennsylvania does have some of my favorite accounts, though, that I've heard.
And we'll talk about that later, you handsome son of a gun.
Hell yeah.
Hey. So
anyways,
Patterson initially estimated its height at 6 feet 6 inches to 7 feet, and later raised his estimate to 7 feet 6 inches. Some later analysts, anthropologist Grover Krantz among them, have suggested Patterson's later estimate was about a foot too tall. Gimlin's estimate was 6 feet. The film shows what Patterson and Gimlin claimed were a large, hairy, bipedal, ape-like figure with short, silvery brown or dark reddish brown or black hair covering most of its body, including its prominent breasts. Now, that was something that I never, ever noticed in the original footage until they did the 4K, was that this Bigfoot had breasts.
Bigfoot titties.
Big titties. So, and I want to say you're the one that pointed that out to me, Johnny, when we were having a chat or something.
Yeah, I think it was when you first came up with the idea that you're going to do this episode. Now it's just like bleh, info.
Yeah.
And yeah, my point always was if everybody says it's fake, right?
Yeah.
Like these guys made this suit. What you're telling me they went that much farther to make female genitalia, to specifically make this a female versus just some weird creature in the woods. You're telling me they really went that far into it. I call bullshit, dude. That's why I say it's legit, dude.
Yeah. I mean, and anything's possible. Anything is possible. You know what I mean?
Right. It could.
But that's exactly right. Why go through that thought process? Hey, let's make it a female. You know what I mean? That would never cross my mind. Hey, let's make it a different gender so that way it doesn't fall back on us.
I guess now that we're thinking about it, would it have a big old hairy ding dong flopping around in that footage if it was a man?
Supposedly
or a male?
Supposedly they're not packing like you think they would be.
Oh, really?
Which would make sense if you got to run through a lot of foliage and stuff like that. You don't want it. Be hitting trees and everything. That would hurt.
Especially down here running through cacti and stuff. Ooh,
right.
No.
Yeah.
Oof.
So they developed growers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not showers.
And supposedly some people.
So one would say people that are growers are evolutionary ahead.
Yes.
That's right. It wouldn't go with it wouldn't go with human society right now with how most people think, but
I'm making that shirt. Bigfoot is a grower, not a shower. I'm fucking making it a shirt.
Yo, dude. Supposedly a couple people that have had bluff charges from him and everything, when they've been attacked or when they've been charged by a male, they have been erect. And usually these are females. Right.
What?
So you just not only
the people or the Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot.
The Bigfoot, okay. And usually this is going after women, not to go down that road.
Yeah.
But yeah. So could you imagine just running into now a 7-foot bipedal hominid that you can't even fathom exists, and now it's running at you with a full-fledged fucking hard-on?
Hey, Brody, we wouldn't know. As of today's policies, we can't no longer sell that sort of stuff on eBay.
Yeah, there's no more smut on eBay. They said no.
Oh, really?
Yeah, none.
Oh, you didn't look at the chat and see my whole rant where I
TJ ranted about it.
And then I put a fucking screenshot of the article that's like, no more DVDs. No more physical media of dirty things. And I was like, no.
Of dirty things.
TJ's world came crashing down today.
What's in the list of dirty things, I wonder?
Okay. Any Vinegar Syndrome movie that releases when they restore old porn can't be sold on eBay. That's one less place they can distribute film.
Okay.
Wow.
I wonder why eBay is getting a conscious now. Like, what the fuck, dude? It's eBay.
Yeah, you can buy the most random shit on eBay. Really, you're not going to fucking allow smut on there anymore?
You can't tell me even just going to that website doesn't make you feel a little dirty. You know what I mean?
It does.
Right. So fucking just, all right, whatever. That's sad.
So the figure had walked away from them to a distance of about 120 feet before Patterson began to run after it. The resulting film, which is about 59.5 seconds long at 16 frames per second, is initially quite shaky until Patterson got about 80 feet from the figure. At that point, the figure glanced over its right shoulder at the men, and Patterson fell to his knees. Patterson would later characterize the creature's expressions as one of contempt and disgust. You know how it is when the umpire tells you one more word and you're out of the game. That's the way it felt. That's what he said. So, I mean, could you imagine just running after this thing and then he just turns around and it's like, the fuck you want, bitch?
It gives you that look that all 6th grade girls did when that one time you walked on the bus and you were just wearing something weird and they're all like, ugh. Yeah, you know.
I had a bad experience like that. So my mom sent me to school one day for Halloween dressed as Raggedy Andy. Okay. I was a kid. I was probably about 5 or 6 years old. My mom sent me to school on the school bus dressed as Raggedy Andy because it was a Halloween day at school. Only it wasn't. It was on Friday and today was Thursday. And she sent me to school on the wrong day dressed as fucking Raggedy Andy. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The looks
there was
of
some gross that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. It was horrible. It was fucking horrible. So shortly after this point, the steady middle portion of the film begins, containing the famous look back. Patterson said it turned a total, I think, of 3 times. The other times, therefore, being before the filming began and or while he was running with his finger off the trigger. Shortly after glancing over its shoulder on film, the creature disappeared behind the grove of trees for 14 seconds, then reappeared in the film's final 15 seconds after Patterson moved 10 feet to a better vantage point, fading into the green trees again and being lost to view at distance of 265 feet as the reel of film ran out. Gimlin remounted and followed it on horseback. So what the fuck was Gimlin doing this whole time that Patterson was running after it? So it says Gimlin
You
followed
said something
it.
about being erect earlier, so.
Well, it was a female. It was a female, so I don't know. I mean,
you never specified whether it was the victim or
maybe
if it was
they
a
were
victim.
more gender fluid back then. I don't know.
You never know.
Yeah, we don't know. So Gimlin got back on his horse, keeping his distance until it disappeared around the bend in the road 300 yards away. Patterson called him back at that point, feeling vulnerable on foot without a rifle because he feared the creature's mate might approach. The entire encounter had lasted less than 2 minutes. So this footage that we get, this very well-known film, and this episode that occurred only lasted 2 minutes, and look at how much it has blown up since then. You know?
Right. I think it first aired on TV under with Leonard Nimoy there in I believe it was called In Search Of. And that was like the first time everybody really saw it.
For our younger audience who is Leonard Nimoy.
That would be Spock from the original.
And the
Star
original Star Trek, yes.
Yes. Yeah, that has to be mentioned, not oh shit, I'm gonna fucking brain fart, doesn't you know? Anyways.
So Gimlin and Patterson rounded up Patterson's horses, which had run off in the opposite direction downstream. Before the filming began, Patterson got his second roll of film from his saddlebag and filmed the tracks. The men tracked Patty for either 1 mile or 3 miles, but lost it in the heavy undergrowth. They went to their campsite 3 miles south, picked up plaster, returned to the initial site, measured the creature's step length, and made 2 plaster casts, one each of the best quality, and left and right print. So they went back, got the print, and boom, it's history now.
Fuck yeah, dude. And literally one of the probably best footages of that you could ever get, and it's still like debated to this day. Fucking 50 years later.
It's good stuff.
60 years later. Sorry.
It is great stuff, but like I said, there's a lot of people that discredit it and say that, you know, one, that they made the suit, and if they did make the suit, yeah, they could have easily destroyed it. You know what I mean? Especially from that. I mean, and especially from that distance, and the camera quality back then wasn't the best. So even if it was a horrible, shitty suit, you wouldn't be able to tell. You know what I mean? You love titties?
It had titties.
Oh, it did have titties. Yeah.
So, and here's the other thing that we got to remember. This was 68, I believe they released, right? 67 they filmed it, 68 they released it, right?
Yeah, they had to have time to add the visual effects in.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Well, I think it was more of a discussion between them of whether they should or not, and then I think they decided to. But okay, so obviously Patterson was from Hollywood, so that's the biggest why everybody kind of poo-poos on this.
Yeah,
Gimlin was a straight up cowboy. That mother, I mean, he loaned horses and everything to Hollywood because we're talking the 60s, which TJ's coming out like they've discussed before. Bless you, by the way. So you're coming out of you're in the cowboy time of movies and shit like that. You know what I mean? So it makes sense. But this dude was a legit cowboy. He went out in the mountains all the time. So it's why? They're not going to get famous. You know what I mean? They can get their names can get big, but they're not going to get money out of it. And let's think about effects in this time being. The year later, we got Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. They look like complete shit in comparison, I feel.
Hey, bro. It has titties.
It does. And it's got a
I don't think TJ can get past the titties. Yeah, but I mean that ass though.
If it's got titties and it's 67, 68, they're not walking out there with this super high tech bodysuit with titties.
No,
and filming this shit. So I don't think you can really discredit at this point, and especially we can scan this shit in 4K now and see them titties and see all the other extra detail now. Yeah. I mean, you can't really disprove the Patterson Gimlin footage anymore.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah.
And they think in their interviews or in the prior interviews, they think the mom was actually leading them away from a nest of their young. That's why
which would make sense. Which would make complete sense, especially if there wasn't a male around, or hell, maybe the females are the protectors, kind of like lionesses. They go out for the hunt and stuff, you know. And maybe it's like that with Bigfoot. The males protect the children while the females go do their thing.
Yeah. And I'll never know.
Yeah, me neither. But you know, and you got to think too, like, what type of money did they make off of this? You know, I always attribute this back to like Travis from Fire in the Sky. Why would he make that up? He didn't necessarily, you know what I mean? They didn't necessarily know that there was going to be a movie years later. They didn't know they were going to make any money off of this. You know what I mean? So what reason would they have to make this up? You know, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Speaking of movies, let's segue
let's
that
do
motherfucker.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we got a couple movies I want to talk about that involve Bigfoot in some way, shape, or form. Starting off with 2006's Abominable, directed by Ryan Schifrin, featuring Matt McCoy as Preston Rogers, Haley Joel Osment as Amanda, Christian Tinsley as Otis. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's Haley Joel Osment.
It's Haley Joel.
Did he
Is there
not?
a different Haley Joel?
Is there?
Maybe.
When you Google it, it comes up his name.
Okay, let's go with that.
There you go.
Nope, there's another actress that goes by that name too.
Fuck.
Yep.
Damn.
Okay, not Osment. Haley Joel as Amanda. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. He was
Haley
in another
Joel,
movie.
not Osment.
Yeah, Christian Tinsley as Otis Wilhelm, Karina Ann Ching as CJ, Jeffrey Combs as Buddy the Clerk, Natalie Campagno as Michelle, and Michael Deek as Bigfoot, credited as Monster.
Yeah.
The plot. After recovering from a horrific accident, paraplegic Preston Rogers moves back into the remote cabin where he and his now deceased wife once lived. When one of his neighbors, Karen, is attacked by a gigantic ape-like beast, Rogers contacts the local authorities. But after the police, even his personal nurse, Otis Wilhelm, dismisses Rogers as a delusional widower, he sets out to stop the abominable creature himself.
I can say I've never seen this movie.
Same.
I really haven't seen many Bigfoot. I can honestly say the only Bigfoot movie that I've seen is Harry and the Hendersons.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Good thing we're talking about that too.
Yeah. Have you seen this one, TJ?
Yes, I watched it. It was on Tubi, I think, the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
Yeah,
dude, there's a lot of Sasquatch movies on Tubi. It's awesome.
The end, it's a slow burn, but the ending with the face off with Bigfoot is really, really fucking cool.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah.
Very nice, very nice.
The trailer looked sweet, so
yeah, the trailer did look sweet. The creature reveal was pretty cool.
Now, a film that we all watched or have watched, or if you haven't yet, you probably should go do it right now, and that is 1987's Harry and the Hendersons, directed by William Deere, starring the talented John Lithgow as George Henderson, Melinda Dillon as Nancy Henderson, Margaret Langrick as Sarah Henderson, Joshua Rodoy as Ernie Henderson, and Kevin Peter Hall, and Ernie Hudson, and Kevin Peter Hall as Harry, the in-suit performer. Kevin Peter Hall also did an Alien, a Predator, and he did Alien 1? 3. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure about
Makes
that.
Sense.
One. Steve, want to read the plot?
You did not send me the notes for that one, sir.
I can read it if you'd like.
You are San Juan Hustler?
Oh, did you send them to me? I did not.
Right.
I did not.
Check your drive, not
fucking
documents.
print them out.
Oh, Predator and Predator 2, not Alien. Sorry.
I know he did Predator. I didn't know if he did the second one or not. Nice. You want me to take the plot, boss?
Yeah, go for it, man.
All right. So while returning from a trip in the woods, George Henderson and his family run into something with their car that turns out to be a Sasquatch. Thinking that the creature is dead, they take him home. But Harry soon awakens. Despite their initial fears, Harry is a kind and sensitive being. And the Hendersons become very fond of him. However, it is difficult to keep him secret, and soon they begin to fear for Harry's safety.
Fucking A. Yeah, we showed the TV spot. Well, one of the TV spots with the crowd reaction in the opening of this episode. I mean, this is a classic film. Absolutely fantastic. John Lithgow's performance and his interactions with the Harry character is just memorable as all hell. Guys?
Yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah.
I love this movie. It's a great, heartfelt early 90s, you know what I mean? Like kid movie. Like it's a great fucking movie. And the one thing I always remember from this movie, and I don't know why this sticks out to me so much, because I'm a fat kid who grew up to be a fat adult. I really want to try the burger and fries Harry was eating when they lead him to the car and they're throwing all those cheeseburgers and shit in there. I always wanted one of those cheeseburgers. They look so fucking good.
It did look like a juicy burger.
Movie food always looks better, you know.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
Just the way it is.
Definitely.
Just the way it is.
It's like the Flintstones.
What,
You guys
the
remember
movie?
the first time you watched Harry and the Hendersons?
I was definitely
Ooh.
a little kid, dude. It was
Yeah. I was.
I mean, I was 3
I
when
watched
it came
on
out,
television first. I'd say I can't even remember.
I think I watched it on recorded VCR tape
Ooh.
off of TV, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken.
Fucking A.
I want to
Right?
say
That's a day right there.
the first time I saw it was on HBO, and I remember sitting there because it was the old HBO intro that they would have on Saturday night for
Dun, dun. Yeah.
with the premiere and the camera going over the little fake town. I remember sitting in my living room
Oh my
and
God.
boom, it came up. Yeah. 'Cause
Nostalgia.
we didn't go to the
boner.
theater. We didn't go
That
to the
was,
fucking
dude.
theater.
I haven't thought about that intro in a minute, dude.
And
And the last film we saw in our intro bit there was a Goofy movie from 1995. This is kind of like a half Bigfoot film, but you got to mention it. Directed by Kevin Lima, starring Bill Farmer as Goofy Goof, Jason Marsden as Maximilian Max Goof, Jim Cummings as Pete, Kelly Martin as Roxanne Paul, Rob Paulson as PJ, and Frank Welker as Bigfoot. Plot.
Good old Frank Welker.
Though Goofy always means well, his amiable cluelessness and klutzy pratfalls regularly embarrass his awkward adolescent son, Max. When Max's lighthearted prank on his high school principal finally gets his longtime crush, Roxanne, to notice him, he asks her on a date. Max's trouble at school convinces Goofy that he and the boy need to bond over a cross-country fishing trip like the one he took with his dad when he was Max's age, which throws a kink in his son's plans to impress Roxanne. So during that little trip, they meet Bigfoot. And Bigfoot's a little plot element in this film, and it's just really cool. As you saw in the trailer, there they even went as far as showing him in the trailer. There,
When the Goofy movie started playing, I was like, "What the hell?" I had completely forgot that
Same.
Bigfoot was in that film, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
We watched it right before you hopped in, dude, and I'm just like, Goofy movie. Oh, I was like, okay.
I was like, somebody had a little too much to smoke because I don't remember this shit.
No, there's actually a really cool scene where I think like they're cooking steak or something, and like Bigfoot they're fishing, and then
oh yeah, when he's teaching him the cast,
yes,
right. Well, doesn't he show up also like at one point when he's teaching him how to cook the can with the cigarette lighter? Isn't like Bigfoot sleeping on the car?
I
in
think
that point
because because they lock themselves inside the car, and Bigfoot's like, yep,
yeah, because he won't let them get out. Which, if you watch that scene in retrospect now, kids would be like, "What is that?" And be like, "Well, we used to have lighters in the car back in the day for either cigarettes or if somebody came up to your window."
Yeah. Be gone, heathen, be gone.
Yes.
All right.
So we're gonna jump into the next real.
The whole topic of
Fighting.
this podcast, the real good
Bigfoot,
stuff.
the real good stuff. You know,
Yeah.
the movie stuff's the good stuff, though. You know.
Yeah.
So, January 12th, 2020. All right. So last year,
Recent date.
yeah, 2 Ohio men went for a leisurely walk in the woods, like they've done many times before. This time, though, they spotted the king of all cryptids himself, Bigfoot, in Salt Fork State Park. The figure had all the characteristics of Bigfoot. It has been rumored to live in Ohio since the mid 1700s. It had also been rumored to live in Ohio's largest state park, which is Salt Fork. Over 36 sightings have been reported since the middle of the 1980s, with a huge amount of alleged evidence coming from Salt Fork's borders. At the Salt Fork State Park, there are 3 locations where Bigfoot is said to have been spotted: Morgan's Knob, Parker Road, known as Buckeye Trail, and Bigfoot Ridge. The park's primitive campground, where Kathy Lee Gifford and Hoda, I don't know how the fuck to say her last name, filmed
Lee Gifford.
filmed an episode of the Today Show, and they said they saw the creature and it was scary. Yeah. In 2012, the Salt Fork State Park was named as one of U.S. Today's top 10 squatchiest places.
Squatchiest places.
Squatchiest places. So if you want to see the Sasquatch, you head on over there to Ohio to Salt.
It's only 6 hours from my direction.
So in my notes, I have some stuff about Ohio as well.
Do you want to hit on that? Let's do it.
Yeah, so the name of the episode is Interdimensional Samsquanch. So let's talk about that theory a little bit with this. Entities known as ultra-terrestrials being capable of crossing dimensions at will, often acting as cosmic pranksters. When it comes to Bigfoot, Sasquatch, and Yeti, or whatever you want to call them, there's often a playfulness or spookiness described in their actions. Tree knocking or eerie screams alert us to their presence. Until we get close enough, they might offer a glimpse before vanishing seemingly into thin air. Never can see them. I'll explain why. Jack Harry, a cryptozoologist who studied Bigfoot for decades, says he believes it alternatively plausible that Bigfoot is being abducted by UFOs in much the same way humans are to study its DNA and physical attributes. Carey says he believes that Earth's fluctuations can create monetary tears in the electromagnetic membrane, separating our universe with the parallel one, allowing extra-dimensional entities access into this dimension. An intriguing account tying UFOs to Bigfoot together comes from an 1888 meeting between cattle ranchers and a group of Native Americans in Northern California. The natives described 3 crazy bears that descended from the sky in a small moon, leaving them in the woods before taking off. In another instance, in Cincinnati, Ohio, in 1973, a woman named Rafa Heightfield and her daughter were awakened in the middle of the night to a beam of light extending down from a bulbous umbrella shape in the sky. Tracking the light to where it landed in the nearby woods, the two noticed a grayish simian wandering toward the beam. Before they knew it, both the ape and the craft disappeared.
So that makes sense as to why we don't have daily fucking Bigfoot sightings.
Yes.
Huh.
Now,
interesting.
This next sighting, this is probably the most detailed sighting we could possibly get of this interdimensional type theory. And I first encountered this type of theory when I was watching a documentary. I want to think it's called Bigfoot in America. And they mentioned this briefly. So I want to talk about it a little bit in depth here. This is kind of close to me. So yeah, UFO sightings at Presque Isle State Park. This one happened on July 31st, 1966. So try to follow along the best you guys can. Betty Jean Clem of Jamestown, New York, had a very unusual experience at Presque Isle State Park that Sunday. Her boyfriend's car became stuck in the sand off of Beach 6, and they were waiting for help after sunset. We saw a star move. It got brighter, and it would move fast, then dim. We could see it come down. It was metallic, sort of silvery, and it landed between 2 trees. It came straight down. The car vibrated. And Clem, in a report published in the Erie Morning News on August 1st, 1966. Douglas Tibbetts of Greenhurst, New York, witnessed the entire episode from the front seat of his car, related his account to Peninsula Patrolman Ralph Clark and Robert Loeb Jr. when they responded to his call for help. Tibbetts was Clem's boyfriend. Clem also reported seeing a dark, featureless creature and hearing something walking on the roof of their car. The Erie Daily Times reported on August 1st, 1966, that 8 others had seen a UFO that night between 8 p.m. and midnight. They included Stephanie Lupo, Helene Roche. Stephanie is Moreno's mom. Elaine Orsa. I'm just making that up. Charlie Manga. Sue Carly. Lindo Henderson, not related to Harry. Janice Dickey and Jane Moran. Air Force launched probes in Erie UFO, ran in the Erie Morning News. So the headline, Air Force launches probe of Erie UFO, ran in the Erie Morning News on August 2nd, 1966. Officials will not comment on the investigation, saying that all the findings cannot be released, only by the Secretary of the Air Force. The article went on to say that a test for radiation was made of the ground surface in the area of Beach 6, where the craft was said to have landed, but no sign of the radiation was found by Erie County civil defense workers.
I wonder if they've released that. I wonder if they've released that, because you know how they just released, literally a few months ago, the government released a shitload of stuff saying, yep, here you go, UFOs are real.
Yeah, that was back last May. That was a year ago.
Yeah, has it been a year already? Holy fuck.
Yeah.
I wonder if they actually released this. I'm gonna have to look into that.
So, you know what? Let's finish this because I was gonna say, dude, if you want to throw on some more conspiracy theories, there's definitely some deep ones too.
Two girls came forward and stated that they seen a UFO 3 months ago. Cheryl Coffey, who lives in the lighthouse at Presque Isle State Park, told of the incident. She said there probably has no connection to what happened that this probably has no connection with what happened last night. So yeah, if you think it's the lighthouse, nah. Lighthouse lady says no. The Erie Daily Times reported August 6th, 1966, that Mayor William S. Hall of Youngstown went to the scene of the occurrences near Beach 6, where strange imprints were found in the sandy Monday morning hours after a Jamestown girl was left hysterical from the strange events of the preceding night. The officers took plaster casts of the same tracks.
Nice.
5 members of the National Investigation Committee on Aerial Phenomena Tuesday night joined in the investigation of a reported landing on an unidentified flying object Sunday night on Beach 6 of Presque Isle State Park, reported Dick Ramsey in the Erie Morning News on August 3rd, 1966. The 5 members who came to Erie were Rich Hobbs, Joseph McGuire, James Reed, Jeffrey Gall, and James Sipprell. 2 police officers reported they watched a UFO for 2 hours before the sun rose on August 3rd. So that same night, Lawrence Park Patrolman William Rutledge spotted that UFO around 4:45 a.m. Wesley Patrolman Donald Peck, who also saw the object, reported seeing it on August 3rd as well. A rash of sightings were reported in the Times the next day. A headline in the Erie Morning News on August 5th, 2 days after, declared Peninsula ruled safe after UFO investigation.
Jesus, dude, that's a lot of people to step forward on that.
Yeah, and that's a lot of people and like a lot of detail all matching the same.
And these are cops.
Right. These are people that are like, wouldn't
like,
usually step forward if it's going to fuck their career up. You know what I mean? Like,
and lastly, this was all followed up by a published in the Erie Morning News on August 12th. So a couple days later, which stated, monster, a bear. Park chief says no. Reporter Dick Ramsey wrote, the Air Force report was released by the Air Force One Office of Information at the Pentagon. Information officer said it is the final report on the alleged peninsula sightings unless significantly new information concerning the sighting is supplied to the Air Force. So despite all of those reports, nothing was found.
Wow. Yeah, extreme cover up. Like, extreme cover up. Huh.
Fuck yeah, dude. It is. I mean, dude, the Bigfoot world itself, you can go so many different ways to it, whether it's interdimensional, whether it's you know what I mean? Like,
we have 2 incidences that date back all the way to 1888, and then we have a relatively modern one that takes place in a heavily populated area, and half the town, including state officials, witness it happen, and it's covered up by the government.
I do like the theory though that they're being abducted. I like that more than like they are part of the whole alien thing and they're used it, which still not saying that's not a cool idea or theory. And obviously there's really no way to like test it right now. But some people say they're like ground hunt, like, you know what I mean? Ground hunters, UFOs drop them off, go across the terrain, see what they got to see. And then they get picked back up and report, or like they're scouts.
Yeah, maybe they're like probes or something. They just come and give them information.
Now, going with the whole, like being able to slip into and out of other dimensions, there's a different theory on that. So a lot of people think they can make infrasound, which can go to vibrations and things like that. So what they think is they could hit this pitch with a scream or something, and it's going to fuck you up almost just pretty much in the head to where it could distort you to where you couldn't even see it anymore because your vision would be messed up. There you go. Perfect example. And so it could get away while you think it's just disappeared, but it's just because it's distorted like your own vibration essentially at the same time.
Huh.
Just another different, like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that, like I said, that would make sense also because look at the footage that we do get. It's often very quick, and then boom, the Bigfoot's gone. You know what I mean? There's videos where you actually see this thing walking, and then it's gone like that. How? You know what I mean? So that vibration theory, I mean, it may be legit.
And that's a real thing, infrasound. Like tigers have it.
Yeah.
Gorillas, like silverbacks have it. That's the shit that'll make you like almost want to piss your pants because it just puts like that deep bass fear in you.
The
when you
brown
hear it.
note.
Pretty much.
Ooh.
Yes.
That is the natural brown note right there. Fuck yeah, dude. Good call.
Yeah, fucking no, yeah, man. And if the thing is, Bigfoot is this thing that if you saw it, you know what the fuck you're looking at, right? So think of how much of our country has yet to be explored. There's tons of fucking places out there still that, yeah, you know, we have them, you know, this is this big old park or whatever, but nobody ever really goes on every fucking acre of that place at the same time to see
Correct.
what's there. So if they're migrant, you know, they could just be, you know, working their patterns, or if the UFOs are dropping them off or whatever it is. I mean, it's, I don't know.
No, you're correct. And on top of that, if they're an alpha predator, which they would be,
Yeah.
how often do you go out in the woods and you just see like a dead bear skeleton or any kind of predator animal? You don't. Animals don't do that when they die, because that's another thing. You can't find them. Most animals, when they know they're dying, they go off somewhere so they can't be found.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there was one report, and I wish I wrote down the name. This was probably one of the craziest ones I heard that doesn't go into the whole different dimension theory, but like supposedly a gentleman who was in a tree stand was approached by one. It wouldn't go. He shot it. It screamed in terror, ran out, screamed out. 4 other Sasquatches came out and ripped this one apart and started eating him.
What the fuck?
Yeah. This dude's like, I didn't leave my tree stand for 12 fucking
Brody's
hours.
like, that's gonna be in a movie.
And they said he said all he could figure is because they knew he knew he got wounded and everything, they didn't want to take the chance of it getting caught.
Yeah, that they
And hence
fucking cannibalized it.
Yeah. And that also kind of goes along with some Native American stories of how they were always known as cannibals.
Yeah.
The wild man cannibals and stuff like that. Not to mention they supposedly ate us, so they consider that as well. But yeah, dude. There's a lot of fucked up shit in this whole fuck. Oh yeah, dude. It's crazy.
Wow, that's I've never heard that before. So you got any other crazy shit for us, Johnny?
I mean, dude, besides like you know, guys have seen them go around and they'll do tree knocks. We mentioned that before. One specific guy, he was going around knocking. So one would knock on a tree and then he would listen to the tree. And he didn't know what he was doing. And then he'd go to the next one, knock, listen. Next one, knock, listen. He pushed it down and he pulled up a possum or a raccoon. The guy said he wasn't really sure. And that's what he was going around. He was going around listening for live animals and trees and stuff. So then he took this possum and smashed it against a tree and just started fucking eating it after that. Oh yeah, dude. There's one near TJ, actually. There's a trucker. I always like the trucker ones just because these guys, I feel bad for these motherfuckers because they're just passing through. You know what I mean? They don't even live in the fucking area.
Yeah.
They're just like, God damn, I'm just trying to work. He saw this thing on all 4s. Now, supposedly they can drop down to all 4s too. They usually don't. Right. That's like when they're in their super, like, need to get the fuck away point. And that's another reason why people might think they disappear. They might not just see it, but they might just drop down and fucking scuttle away on all 4s.
Yeah.
But this guy saw on an overpass, he pulled over because he saw something, what he thought was eating a dog. And he's like, what the fuck is that, dude? It's a bear. So he gets out. Another gentleman gets out behind him. They're checking it out. They see this quote unquote bear eating this dog. The bear stands up on 2 legs. Turns out it was a Sasquatch, or at least they weren't sure, but that's what they thought. And it was eating a goat. It turned, looked at him, bit the goat's head in its mouth, and then ran off.
You think he smiled like he fucking like, you know?
Supposedly, I mean, great apes show their teeth when, you know what I mean? They don't smile. When they show their teeth, they're showing fucking dominance. Like,
I just, you know, like I said, Harry and the Hendersons, the only Bigfoot movie I've seen.
Oh, the big smile.
And he's so gentle and kind and loving in that movie. I need to watch Abomination or what was it?
Abominable, yeah.
Abominable.
2006. Yep.
I need to watch that so I can get a different perspective on the fucking
dude,
on
watch
Bigfoot.
Exist. I'm telling you that. Yeah. And that one
the-
takes place in Texas.
From
Oh,
the
shit.
director of Blair Witch Project. Exactly.
Yes, dude, it's good.
Well, see, and
I
when
love
when you were talking about Knox, that was what popped in my head was the Knox herd in Blair Witch.
Yeah, supposedly there's tree knocks where they're like either hitting the trees with rocks or other
Their big
trees.
dick.
I don't know if you had this. That's
They're
possible.
growers. They're growers,
That's
not
right.
showers.
Yeah. That's
That's why they're called Homo erectus.
so going back to what you said about the lion thing, that's also another theory. Is they think that there's packs of them, so there might be an alpha male. So the alpha male might be the only one who's actually allowed to mate with the females.
Yeah.
So then the other adolescent males, those are the ones that usually end up attacking people. And it's gone to the point where like people have thought this theory because they have found such things as like their cattle raped and stuff. Yeah.
See?
Oh yeah. Cattle, sheep, pigs. Yeah.
I mean, it could just be Uncle Jim Bob down the way.
It's very possible.
But
the reddish hair that they usually find left behind, or like, I think horses were on that list too. So. Which still could also be
epidemic.
Yeah, it's possible. Daywalkers. God damn it. Sorry, Brody. But no, man. Okay, so here's a thought for you guys. So a theory is the reason Bigfoots have never been actually exposed to the generalized public is because if they were, they would supposedly be put on the endangered species list, which would make all wooded areas, state parks, everything like that would have to shut down per mandate of understanding habitats when it comes to an endangered species, which would literally cripple the economy.
Well, yeah, we wouldn't have. I mean, and just think right now, we're already going through a fucking lumber shortage. Could you imagine if we were never able to?
That's the least of our problems.
Well, 2021, baby. But, but I mean, could you imagine not being able to cut any more fucking trees down, like at all? Because
goddamn Bigfoot, motherfucker.
Any kind of foresting, gone. State parks, like I said, closed down. Nobody's gonna be allowed to go. You know what I mean?
Like, we used to be able to use wood. Yeah, fuck.
Think
Bigfoot,
about it. That's like what 43% of the U.S.
Wow,
is all potentially. Yeah, that's
no
ridiculous.
more toilet paper. Talk about toilet paper shortage. Fuck.
You know what? That's just when everybody needs to just convert over to the good old fucking towel toilet. Yeah, there you go.
Yay. So when the toilet paper shortage was happening, I was gonna buy one and install one, but it was just too much work. I just
my buddies did it and they said they love it. I was almost gonna follow suit. Still may, never know.
I'm gonna have to look on Amazon. I'm gonna look on Amazon.
I think it was only a kit for an extra like $150. So
okay, so I got one more. Unless you guys have anything else.
No, go right ahead, brother.
How we good?
All right. So May 3rd, 2011, which is another one that's close to 10 years ago. Bigfoot seems oblivious to our puny human weaponry as a Blackstone, Virginia man and his son discovered in the early morning hours. When the two heard a loud noise outside their home, the man grabbed his pistol and the son picked up a shotgun. They went outside to investigate, figuring that they would encounter either a burglar or a bear. Instead, the man reported they were confronted by an 8-foot-tall, hair-covered humanoid creature running towards them from the nearby woods. It doesn't say whether he had an erection or not. The man screamed at the creature to stop and told his son to shoot, which he did into the air. The creature shrieked, but continued running towards them, getting to within about 15 feet before the pair retreated back into their house. I was in terror, the man wrote. He recalled that the Bigfoot had a pervasive odor that really stunk and left footprints that were 18 to 20 inches long. An investigator who visited the man's farm and interviewed him documented a series of other unusual incidents, including loud wails and slaps on the side of the house at night, suggesting that Bigfoot has paid them repeated visits. You'd think that a feral ape-like creature would tread lightly around humans who were equipped to respond to a sighting with half a dozen bullets. But apparently Bigfoot ain't scared of that shit, or at least that certain one maybe he has some kind of trauma or something, and he's just not scared of fucking humans.
Right.
He's rogue. He's gone rogue.
I mean, you got to think even from their standpoint, like let's say if they never saw a human, if a human ran into a Bigfoot, I think that Bigfoot's going to be just as fucking confused as the human. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't think the Bigfoot would be scared because, like,
unless they've seen how weapons act prior.
True.
Which is possible. But so a couple of the missing 411s. Okay. All right, on the odor thing. This was another thought. Supposedly the odor is actually controllable, like a skunk odor. And they use that to
so they have like a gland.
Like butthole
Correct.
glands.
Yeah.
And supposedly silverbacks have them too. So it's very possible, I guess. But from a hunting aspect, you would think it almost has to, because it's not going to want to be sneaking all the time. It would never be able to sneak up on any kind of prey. You know what I mean? Smell it a mile away.
Think of like a skunk. You know what I mean?
Right. It's defensive. Like
defensive mechanism.
So it's very possible.
Interesting.
Or it could just be something completely like from the old days, man, of like DNA manipulation before the fucking flood.
Hey, the fucking aliens, man. They fucking that's what they are. They're half alien, half monkey too, like us, except they're the rejects.
Whoa, yeah.
They're the rejects, man. They're the first batch. They're the bad batch.
Now, there's another thought, and I don't know if you've covered them yet or not, but there's another thought that they could be Nephilim.
I have not covered Nephilim yet. That is actually one episode that I'm working on. That will probably be episode 17.
Ooh.
Yes.
Damn, you got it numbered. I like it, buddy.
Oh, yes, sir. I'm already next episode will be vampires. Ooh. Yes, vampires.
We'll have James Woods on that for that episode.
Oh, that'd be fucking great.
Don't dick like me on that, dude.
Like, hey, father, when I was kicking your ass back there, did you get a little wood, a little mahogany?
Good fucking shit. Nice, dude.
So, guys, it's time to wrap up the show. I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in. Brody, Ben, anybody else that caught us, Joe, thank you for joining us. Guys, also you too, thank you so much for being on the podcast. It's been a great time. I love having you guys on. It's always fun. So
thank you for that, brother.
This is thanks. Scuba Steve saying, see you later, baby.
This is your Fluff Master Supreme, Big Johnny D, saying, see you later, guys.
This is your host with the motherfucking most, TJ Bowser, the Pod Boss, signing off.
Stay spooky, bitches.